Alright guys, a little bit of a different video today. It's not a car video as I have an ankle injury and I'm unable to get outside to work on the car. So, what I have here is my watch. It is a Steel Dive 300 meter dive watch. It has a Seiko NH35 inside of it. It's got a sapphire crystal, sapphire magnified date window, ceramic bezel. That is pretty good in my opinion. It's got solid links, not folded. The clasp, a little bit undesirable. It's definitely a Seiko style clasp. It does not have a diver's extension or the slide lock micro adjustment. But the issue I've been having is that this crown is super difficult to unscrew. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take this back off and I'm going to show you how to pop the crown out so you can see if anything's stuck in there, anything that's not supposed to be. So let's start with getting the micro adjust out and just use a spring bar pusher to push this one out. I put my thumb over it to stop it from shooting off into the ether to never be found again. Set that to the side. Okay, now we can take this case back off. And you're gonna want one of these. You want to apply even pressure to the back of this tool as you rotate because you are using 3 connections, not 2, or you are using 3 points of contact, not 2. All right, so there's the movement. It's a Seiko NH35. You got your weight right here that winds the watch. You have your balancing wheel right there, which keeps time. And you can see it says NH35A, 24 joules. This is a Seiko movement. It is a relatively inexpensive Seiko movement. All right. Now, about getting the crown out. We're going to want to unscrew the crown from the threads like that. And then there will be a little point for you to push on. And I want you to see this. So there's a little divot right there. And that's what you're going to push on right there. That little divot. And it'll lift up an arm that travels over here and holds this crown in. Now you can use wood. You can use a spring bar pusher. It's up to you. I use wood so I don't damage anything in here. I don't scratch the metal or anything like that. So I'm going to find the point. I'm going to press on it and I'm going to pull the crown. And this will be easier on the edge of the little base. There we go. Got the crown out. So now I can inspect the threads, inspect these threads, grease up the O-rings with some Seiko silicone grease. And then we'll grease up that back O-ring before we put the case back on. All right, I checked out these threads. I checked out those threads. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with them. Put some grease on them. And I'm going to put this back in. Now, to put this crown back in, you want to press on the same exact point you used to pull it out. And it should just slide in just real easy like. Yep, you should be able to wind the watch. And most of all, you want to make sure that you can screw the thread all the way down to touch the case back. If it's not touching this case, you might not be water resistant, waterproof. You might get some water in your watch. All right. So now we're going to take our case back. We're going to set our case back on. And try to be careful when you do this. You don't want to move that O-ring out of place. You don't want to bend it or bind it while you are trying to thread this on, because if you do, and you take this watch into the pool even, you will get water in it, without a doubt. All right, so it just snapped in right there. So we'll go ahead and use the tool to thread it in, and it spins with ease, as it should, until you come in contact with the case again. Threads should not be difficult off the start. If your threads are difficult off the start, you have something wrong. You should get it snugged. Get it snugged up. Let's check it out. Make sure it's still working. Make sure all the functions work. We can wind it. We can swap the date. And we can hack it. And set the time. All the functions work. I'm going to show you how I set my time on this. So I changed the date. It is the 15th. So I'm going to go to the one click out and rotate all the way to the 14th. And I'll show you why I go to the 14th. All right, I'm at the 14th. Now, when this second hand gets to the 12 o'clock position, I will pull it out to quote unquote hack it. All right, 12 o'clock position. So now let's run our clock around. Past midnight, it turned into 15. So now we can set the time. And it is 4:59. So you want to go past noon. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm actually going to do 5 o'clock because that'll be when the seconds roll around. And then you're all good to go. So now we just put this little micro adjust back in and use a little pin pusher for it. Snapped in. You're all good to go. Steel dive, 300 meter dive watch with the ceramic bezel, sunburst, blue dial. But this is a very cheap, inexpensive dive watch with a automatic movement in it. And on my wrist today I have the G-Shock GA 2100 VB 1A. It is their VR inspired watch, otherwise known as the Cassie Oak, because it looks like a royal oak. All right, now that we're all done, that is how you pull out a crown. And then if you wanted to pull out the movement out of the back, you would just pop the movement out with the crown out.